I will just spend 1 minute. If there is a burning question or if there is anything that you want to ask from session one. Anything from session one? Okay, I take it as a no. So basically, when we talk of corporate use cases, like, or we talk of corporate world where you all are, right? We all want to develop use cases on. We want to know how can I use ChatGPT in my organization. That is what we do in and out. Most of you are leaders where you are asked to build use cases for your organization, for your teams, for your clients, right? So the whole idea is, what can I do with this ChatGPT for a company, for a client? I am personally using it, that's one thing, but what can I do? And that's where we talk about two core topics. One is known as RAG, Retrieval Augmentation Generation. Other is Agentic AI. Agentic AI is a session itself, which will be my session 3. Right now we are session 2, which is RAG. Now, RAG was being done left, right, and center in starting of January 2024 to mid of 2024. Okay. Basically, LLMs became popular in 2023. The whole year went where people were exploring various models. And then 2024, people started doing RAG. Okay. So we are right now talking up till, so I told you that, I'm trying to take you, I have to bring you to 2025. March 2025 is what we have to, what is being taught today, we have to reach there. But it's a journey, right? So we covered 2023, the introduction of LLM in the last session. Now we are trying to do what happened in 2024. And in the third session, we will be on to the latest, right? Agentic AI, which is my last session, you'll see, what you see on LinkedIn today, right? As of today, if you open any LinkedIn post, it's about Agentic AI. That will be session 3. Session 1 and 2 are important so that you understand the frameworks, and then we can talk about agents. Now, RAG stands for Retrieval Augmentation Generation. Basically, plain LLM, okay? It has a lot of knowledge, but that is publicly available knowledge. Suppose you are a product-based company, okay? And there is very specific information about your product. You are a hospital and you have very secret diagnosis data, which is not available. Here we say that LLMs are trained on a vast amount of text data, source, books, article, other written content, okay, publicly available. If the data is hidden in your SharePoint, okay, if the data is hidden in your knowledge bases, in your PDFs, in your Word documents, okay, there will be no access to that on internet, and LLMs cannot be trained on that, right? So, and the first use case which comes is, how can I give this knowledge to LLM? That's the very first thing. Okay, and that's where RAG comes in, Retrieval Augmentation Generation. We try to append ChatGPT or any other LLM with the knowledge that was not in public but is available with us. With this, ChatGPT can now answer normal question plus the questions around your product. Okay, and I'll show you an example, right? We'll ask a question and we'll see that the tiny llama model will not have an answer. Then we'll do a RAG and we'll see it has an answer. Okay, this is a very, very popular use case. Many companies have done it. We have done it for multiple departments. We have done RAG for HR. We have done for RAG for marketing. We have done RAG for product teams. Now we are dealing with multiple clients. Okay, education clients, telecom clients, where we are doing RAG. Now RAG again is because it was being done so much. So RAG again, I'll try to break it into two. Simple RAG, which is like basic RAG. Okay. And then obviously when people use something so much, they find differences, they find issues with that. And then comes the concept of advanced RAG. Advanced RAG means I'll try to explain you what are the advancements done in them and how RAG is done today. As of 2025, if somebody wants to do RAG, how we'll do it. So we'll break it into two. Simple RAG, where we'll try to understand the architecture, look at it, what RAG is. Then we'll go to advanced RAG just to show you the advancement and how it is done today. Okay. A very important concept, a very, very important use case. In 2023, you can see that if you were 2024, if you are working on LLM, it was 99.99% sure that you are doing RAG. Okay, this was the only use case that was running across companies. Okay, so what is RAG? RAG, which is the gap between gap by integrating the information retrieval, making LLMs more versatile and reliable. Okay, then so this is important. RAG merges LLM text generation abilities with the information retrieval from access to the real world knowledge. Real world means what I'm talking, which is with you, okay, which is not available publicly. Okay, this approach improves LLM understanding and processing of user queries by providing access to recent and relevant data. Another thing is timestamp problem. See, LLMs are trained up to a particular time. Those who have used ChatGPT in the very initial days, at the bottom you do not had a search button. Like it used to give only specific information. If you ask it very latest, like for example, when the Delhi elections were happening, okay, or when Maharashtra elections were happening, if you ask information about that latest thing, that answer didn't used to come. Nowadays, you have a small search button at the bottom, very bottom. It says search, right? Internet kind of icon is there. If you press that, it gets information from internet also. But previously, that button was not there. So, which means that, and you can get a response back. You used to, those who have tried asking such question, you will get a response. My training data is updated only to so and so date. I do not have an answer to this question. That is how it will say. So there was a need to keep it continuously updated, right, with the latest information, right? And we cannot keep on training, right? I mean, training big companies are doing, but for small things that are latest, you can always do RAG, right? So those are the two reasons why people started using RAG. Now, a basic architecture. Okay, I'll not go very deep here. This was, I was telling you that although transformers are very very technical, vector is very very technical, but I highlighted that you will have to understand it because this will come in the future session. So this is where we are going to use that transformer, right? And I explained in a very simple terms. Just understand transformer as a dictionary, as a vocabulary of a model. If you want to talk to that model, you will have to use same language. If you try to use a different language, it will not understand. This is a plain simple English understanding. Okay, technical understanding is vectors, right? Okay, model understand vectors, so you need to convert your documents to vectors. And in the same architecture, in the way vectors have been created for the initial one, then only initial LM training, then only the both can match. The language will match. It will be like Kannada, Kannada, Hindi, Hindi. That's how, right? If the model was trained on one language, I'm not saying language as a practical language. I'm just giving you an example. Okay, so that is what is known as embeddings. You can say we try to pull the vocabulary of a model and we try to convert. So these are our documents. This is our proprietary information which is saved somewhere in our SharePoints. These are product documents. This is our knowledge bases. If you are a university, you might have a lot of college notes which are only given to students of your college. Okay, so these are those documents. You have to break this into chunks. If you remember, I explained you that input prompt to an LLM is of a size. You cannot give very big input prompt. That is why we have to do chunking, because it has to be fed only that much the LLM can take. Then you try to pull the embeddings or high level vectors or the LLM language. Okay, and then you create a vector store out of it. That is, this thing is converted when it is converted by pulling embeddings into a vector store. Okay, and that's where your entire this document is saved. Now when you ask a question, the question, through an orchestrator, we'll talk about orchestrator frameworks now. Orchestrator understands that this is a query. It will first send it to vector DB and see that if the answer is there or not. It will take this answer, then give it to LLM. LLM will get a lot of context about that. Okay, if it has prior knowledge, little bit prior knowledge also, it will take this, plus it will combine with its own knowledge, if there is any. Okay, and then it will try to give you a response in NLP format. That is how LLM gets knowledge about your own documents, which were not there before. Now, one important thing to notice, when we do RAG, we do not change the base model. We do on top of it, we augment it. This is a very, very important difference. We will talk about fine tuning in some future sessions. In fine tuning, you change the model itself. Okay, here we do not change the model. We just place it on site of it. It's augmented. Okay, briefly, I will touch upon prompt engineering is another important thing, right? This is not linked to RAG. Prompt engineering used everywhere. This is a methodology to get better output of a prompt. Like, everything is about, if you remember, I said transformer is attention is all you need. The most important thing before the bots now and the prior bots that we used to use before LLMs is the knowledge awareness of the context.